What's going on, guys? Vlad here with solusplc.com, and today we're going to be taking a look at the data structures and the different data types in RSLogix and Studio 5000. So this is a topic that I wanted to cover a long time ago, and it's extremely important to understand all of your booleans, your dints, and your ints well as far as the programming goes. And this is very similar to what you would find in C, C++, Java, if you're familiar with any of those languages. But I do want to get into the specifics of programming them in Studio and RSLogix 5000 from a PLC standpoint. Before we get started with today's video, we just wanted to quickly point out all the great content we've been releasing on the Solus PLC YouTube channel. And this includes industrial automation, PLC programming, as well as HMI development. And if you enjoy this type of content, we would really appreciate it if you could click the subscribe button as well as the notification bell in order to receive the latest and greatest content we will be posting to the channel. Okay, so I've added this main routine in which we can experiment, and I'm going to start off by creating a new rung. And first, let's discuss really quickly what's called a controller versus a program scoped tag. So my program scoped tag are going to reside in the program definition. So here, like I said, I have a program called essentially tutorials, and then I have a data types subroutine. So if I click on this parameters and local tags, I will get access to what's currently within that program. And you'll notice that, of course, it's a blank program that I've created a few minutes ago. So there's nothing in it. Now, if we scroll all the way up, as you've seen me do in many different videos, you can click on the controller scope tags. And this is where the tags that can be accessed by any program will reside. Now, as you've probably already guessed, the difference is that the program scope tags will only be accessed on the program side, and the controller scope tags can be accessed by any program or routine in your entire project. Now, the question often comes up as which tags you should be using for which purpose, and ultimately the rule of thumb is that if you're not going to use it outside of a certain program, then you should make it program scoped, and if you're going to need access for that tag from multiple programs, then it should become controller scoped. Now, when we create different tags, so let's go back into this, we can start off by typing a name, so let's say tag 1. Next, we have the usage. Like I said, that's going to be your local, and then you can block it for input, outputs, in and outs, and public. Next, we have alias. So we talked about this in a different video, aliasing, what that really means. Next, we have the data type, and this is the important portion, which is sometimes misunderstood. But if you click on this little square, you get to select what kind of a data type your tag is going to be. And these data types are going to list all the predefined or pre-specified data types from Rockwell Automation, as well as your UDTs or user-defined data types. Now, in our case, we've created a lot of booleans, we've worked with many dints and many ints. That being said, you will notice that there's going to be a lot more tags in this list, and they are, for the most part, going to be some of the specific tags that work with motors, for example, that work with, there's going to be timers here, there's going to be PIDs, there's going to be some position stuff, so there's going to be a lot of different variation. But in this video, like I said, I wanted to go back to the basics. And let's just create a boolean, an int, and a dint, because there still seems to be some confusion around those specific types. So I'm going to create a boolean. I'm going to also create a tag 2, which is going to be a int. And I'm going to create a tag 3, which is going to be a dint. Perfect. So those are the three pretty much basic data types. You can create a few other ones, but that's pretty much, that's going to be covering 99% of what you're going to be using while you're programming your PLCs. Now, there's going to be, like I said, a couple of differences between these three tags. So you'll notice immediately that tag 1 only has a 0 or a 1 option. So let's go back to this view on the monitor tab. So the tag 1 can only be a 0 or a 1, which is essentially what a boolean is going to be. Now, tag 2 has 16 of these boolean types, and if you expand it, you'll notice that the int, which is going to be the higher level tag, is going to be the specification of tag 2, but then as you expand that by clicking that little plus sign, you'll notice that it will break down into booleans. So essentially your integer is just 16 different binary numbers, and that should be fairly obvious to the ones that have done electronics or computer programming, because an int is essentially 16 booleans. Next, we have the dint, and similarly to the int, the dint is just going to be a double integer essentially, or 32 booleans. Now, if you, for whatever reason, forget, you can also look in the data types. Like I said, there's going to be the user-defined data types. These are the ones that I've created myself. And then you'll have the predefined. So these are the data types that are created and populated by Rockwell. So you can go here and you can, for example, select Boolean, and you'll see that it's going to be occupying 1 byte. And if you go down to, let's say, a double int, then it's going to be 4 bytes, and so on and so forth. Now, there's going to be some complications as you start working with what are called arrays. So let's go back to edit tags, and we can create a new tag. Let's see here, so tag number 4. And let's say that this is a Boolean, but it's an array. So arrays are specified with square brackets. So inside of the square bracket, I'm going to specify the size of the array. So let's try and put 10 for my Boolean array, and you'll see what happens in just a second. As soon as I press enter, you'll notice that the Boolean has been converted to an array of 32 Booleans. Now, first of all, let's look at what the array actually is. So if I expand this array, which is tag number 4, you'll notice that here the data type is Boolean with a square bracket 32. And if I expand this, sure enough, we have 32 distinct booleans. But why did it change the 10 to that 32? And the reason for that is that because you allocate the same amount of memory to 10 booleans that you would to 32 booleans. And so essentially, the PLC is trying to save you some space by allocating the essentially the range that it's the most optimal for creating those booleans. Because like I said, you would occupy the same amount of memory space if you were to create an array of 10 booleans as it would for 32. Now, what can you do with these booleans? Well, these booleans are just like separate tags, so you can change them to a 1 or a 0, and you can pretty much utilize them in your logic just like you would tag 1. So let's go back into my rung, and here I can place an XIC as well as an XIO. So I can type in tag 1 just like you would with any other tag, and on this side I would put, let's say, tag 4, and here I need to put in essentially the address of the tag that I'm looking for. So remember that there's going to be 32 of them, so it's going to be from 0 to 31, and of course you only need to specify 1, so this is going to be the last boolean in that array. So that's how you would specify or address a tag within an array. Now, what's also a very common situation is that you would want to send a bunch of booleans into an array, and let's demonstrate really quickly what that would look like. So, for example, let's just get rid of this rung. You have, let's go back to the tags. So parameters and local tags. So I'm going to create a lot of different tags here. So let's say tag 5. Tag 6, and actually I do want them to be boolean, so let's tag 7 boolean. And the reason why you'd want to send booleans into arrays of into dints is that dints are usually much easier to manipulate in the RSLogix environment. And similarly, tag 9. So dints are much easier to manipulate. You can use for loops on dints. You can't really use them that well on booleans unless they are placed in an array. So sometimes you just get a lot of different tags that you want to send. For example, let's actually pick a concrete example. So let's say you have a bunch of different lights that come on. So this is, I don't know, like start light, and you're going to call them as such. So this is start light, then you have, let's say, stop light. Then you have some kind of a warning light. Then you have, I don't know, like machine running, for example. Machine running. Then you have some kind of a valve output. So you have a bunch of different outputs that you've pre-programmed in your logic, and before you're sending that out to each and individual output, so usually you would see logic. So for example, if the start light is energized, then you're going to have this as an XIC. And let's create all of these tags. So I'm going to just create new. Yes, new. I'm just creating all of these tags on the program scope. So I'm right clicking, I'm clicking on this new, and then I'm pressing enter. That's truncated, that's fine. Okay, and so we have the start light. So once the start light is energized, this is sent to some kind of an output. So let's say it's output dot 0, and then you have this going to output dot 1. And let's actually make this a output is going to be a dint. So output dot 2, for example. And what this creates is that essentially you don't have a dint that you can manipulate, so it becomes really difficult with these different tags. And I might not be explaining this extremely well, but ultimately what's happening here is that if you were to, for example, change this card, so this could be, you know, output 0, output 1, output 2, and for whatever reason you have this output card that fails on your PLC or needs to be migrated, well, you need to readdress each one of these tags individually. Now, if you were to create an array which would be used as a buffer from each one of those tags, then that process would become much simpler. And let me demonstrate what I mean by that. So instead of going directly to the output, what you would do is you would essentially change this to a single dint. So this is going to be output buffer 1, and this is going to be dot 0, and it will make sense in just a second. So output buffer 0, 1, 2, and I'm going to just create that here. It's going to be a dint double integer create. So we have this entire array that goes to this dint, and at the end what I can do is I can use a simple move instruction. So if I do a move, I can do move this entire buffer. So without the specification, I can move it to my output like so. And so what this would do is essentially whichever bits would be on at that time, and right now all of them should be on, so it's going to come out at 7, it's going to move that entire double integer into the output double integer, which doesn't seem like much at face surface, but ultimately what this allows me to do is, like I was saying, if this card, for example, was to go bad and I need to change it, then I can just simply type in, for example, this output 2, which goes to a different card, and I would be all set and done. So it just becomes a lot more easier to perform these operations on double integers and integers instead of arrays of bools, or like I was showing in this example, just random bools being all over the place. Now, there's going to be a couple of other things. Like I said, you can easily copy from these bools into the individual bits of dints. Now, what you've noticed is probably that the nomenclature is a little bit different. So when you have an array of booleans, you are going to specify the location in square brackets. Now, when you're accessing an individual bit of a dint, you're going to put a dot with the address. Now, what becomes a little bit confusing for some is when you create an array of dints and then you want to access a specific boolean within a certain location. And let me just demonstrate this really quick. So I believe we've already created tag 8 as an array of dints. So let's click this and expand it, and you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. So actually, is it an array of dints? No, that's not an array of dints. So let's make an array of dints. Let's type this in, tag 10. And instead of just being a dint, it's going to be 10 dints. We're going to press enter. And you'll notice that as I expand this, there's going to be 10 different dints. But then I can still drill down and figure out what's in each individual boolean of each individual dint. Now, this becomes like I said, a little bit confusing to some, but let me just demonstrate how you would access. So like, let's say if I want to copy this instruction, so this is an XIC, and I'm going to paste that in, and I want to energize the first bit of that array that we've just created. So I'm just going to copy this. I'm going to edit the tag 10, and here first I access the array, and then I access the first bit. So that's how you would specify it. Essentially, you're specifying the first element of the array, and then you're specifying the first bit within that element. And just like so, you can also specify, for example, the fifth element, and then let's say the 8th or the 9th bit within that specific element. So let's compile this and take a look at what's happening. So tag 10, 5, let's see here, tag 10, 5, and then we wrote it to 8. Let's go over here. So there you go, that's our one that we wrote, and hopefully that makes sense. Hopefully that explains and clarifies some of the ways that we deal with booleans, dints, and ints. If you guys have any questions whatsoever, make sure to post on the forums, make sure to post on the comment section, and I'll see you guys next time. Thank you guys so much for watching my content. If you have any questions on this topic, make sure to leave them in the comment section below. And if you can spend 5 seconds of your time liking as well as sharing that video if you've enjoyed it, that would mean absolutely the world to me. And if you have any suggestions for the channel, what kind of hardware, software I should be covering, then make sure to leave that down there as well. See you next time. Take care. Bye.